All right, wrestling fans, we're back. We've had a couple weeks off. We have with us Jade Rouser today. Jade is our Utah national team's director, coach, leader. Anyways, he's going to come on here today. He's going to talk a little bit about the Heartland duels and elementary duels that we've been taking the team back for quite some time. And so anyway, Jade, tell us a little bit about the Heartland duels, what it is, how we're picking the team, things like that.
So Heartland Duels, it's a national duel tournament out in Council Bluffs, Iowa. It's a elementary and junior high duel tournament, but we always take a elementary team, which is 6th grade and below. In the past, we've had wrestle-offs for our teams, but we've kind of struggled with that just because a lot of kids can't make it to wrestle-offs. Our better kids can't make it to the wrestle-offs. So this year we're changing it up a little bit. We're going to pick the teams. We're going to pick our number 1 guys at each weight class. And if a kid does want to wrestle off or try out for the team, they have to contact me by February 1st, so this Friday, to schedule a wrestle off against the number 1 guy. If you do want to do that, you have to go wherever the number 1 guy is. So if you have a kid from up north or way down south, you have to travel down to them at their convenience. So
Jade, I like this format much better. I mean, we've wrestled a whole season. I mean, you know who the best kids are, and the way we've done it in the past is open wrestle-offs at UVU. But you have a kid, that lives 4 hours away, and every single wrestle-off we have, he comes and he pins every kid in 30 seconds. It's like, why are we making this kid travel 4 hours to pin everybody in 30 seconds? And all these other kids, the only reason they're wrestling off is because they want matches and match time. So they all wrestle off. It's only a 5-minute drive for me. Well, it's like, it's a 5-minute drive for you, but it's a 4-hour drive for the guy that really should get the spot. And so it's not really fair. So, changing it up to where we've had the season, they've wrestled each other already probably 3 or 4 times. And so if you have a guy 4 hours away that is the number 1 guy, instead of making him travel, then, if a kid wants to wrestle off, then he can drive 4 hours to wrestle him off instead of making the number 1 kid drive 4 hours to pin you in 30 seconds. So,
so it just takes away the unnecessary wrestle off.
I like that, although just being an advocate, or not an advocate, but
the other side
of this would be the parent who thinks their kid should be the number 1 and is mad that they have to travel.
Well, so here's
but I think it's totally fair. Hey, if you think your kid's number 1, get in your car and drive then.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Your kid's that awesome. Drive 4 hours.
Well, and if it's close, we're doing wrestle-offs regardless at UVU. So if there's not really a clear number 1, then there's a wrestle-off. And I know there's a couple ways we're already doing that, where it's like, okay, we have a number 1, but it's not like a clear, like, he's number 1. It's like he's number 1, but there's other guys that could beat him on any given day.
We got Brock Hardy, right?
Yeah.
It's a clear number 1.
Right. There's no
Isaac Wilcox, clear number 1. There's no wrestle-offs. Like, that's ridiculous. The guy's going
to and if you want to challenge him, go to Box Elder and challenge him. Like, don't make Brock come down to Utah Valley, UVU, and wrestle someone.
Challenge.
There's no point in that. So I like the change. I think it's going to help us get better teams because, like you said, sometimes our best guy, they can't make it on the wrestle off, and something comes up or they're sick or whatever, and so it gives you the freedom to choose the best kid.
That's a really good rule. I was just thinking of when Kate Thompson and Stockton were. They were going in for the Virginia team, and I won't mention the kid, but his mom traveled all the way down to wrestle off those two, and for the spot for one of their spots, and I think that he got pinned in both times, wrestling both of them in the first 20 seconds. Right. And I was glad I didn't have to travel to waste my time for. It was like 2 kids, a total of 2 minutes for 4 matches with 2 kids. And they went home with their, I was like, well, at least he traveled down. At least they thought he could do it.
Well, and we want kids to try out for the team. We don't want to discourage it, but at the same time, we don't want to put the best kids at a disadvantage and make a kid travel 4 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours to wrestle a 30-second match.
Yeah, well, if you got a kid up in Vernal, it's going to drive all the way to St. George to, do a wrestle off.
Yeah.
Right.
He better be down. He better.
Right.
He better. He better think he's got to have a real good
Right.
shot.
And
What you're saying is,
Yeah.
most of the number ones that are just clear cut number ones, they got to travel. Other than that, you're going to have
Yeah.
wrestle
I mean,
offs.
we have a lot of kids in this area that are going to be on teams and stuff. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if we do need to do a wrestle off, it's not an inconvenience for them.
No, that's
They're
good.
pretty close, but
I like it.
we have certain weight classes where there are kids that are 3 to 4 hours.
Talk about the competition out there, though.
Competitions. It's one of the toughest competition for elementary kids, like the Virginia Duels.
Which you think
You
better,
know,
Virginia Duels or
I think there's
different weights? And
it's just different because you get all those central states like Iowa and Nebraska and
probably Colorado,
California,
North Dakota.
You get those
Sons of Thunder.
Sons of Thunder or something.
Well, what's the other ones? No, not SOT.
Yeah,
One's up there. Anyway.
but
yeah, Legends of Gold.
yeah, Legends of Gold. They'll all be there.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of times you see those guys at the Virginia Duels too. But
Yeah, but you see. A lot
I mean, it's just different competition. There's different teams. So I would say Virginia's probably harder because there's definitely a lot more teams that go. But in each division, there's 60 or more teams that go. I think they try to get like 64 teams in each division.
It's tough.
It's tough, yeah. And I think last year we made the bronze pool and we won the bronze pool. So I mean, this year, we're hoping. I think if we can get our better teams, since by picking teams, we can do pretty well out there this year. So, because now we have some big guys, we have some big elementary guys that we could fill all the weight classes. Like the past couple of years, we've struggled to get a 160 pounder, but now picking teams, I think we have a really good shot at getting a full team. So, I know a lot of people. Well, each year, all the kids like it too, and like the hotel that we stay at is connected to the venue, so it's really easy you can just walk over. If you want to get a snack, just go to your hotel room, get food and stuff. So,
cool.
Well, I think it'll be fun to see how we do. I kind of know who the team is as of right now, and so we'll release that probably next week, right?
Yeah.
But it's looking really good. I'm excited to see how they do. It'll be fun to watch and follow that. So we've got Heartland Duels coming up in April. If you want to request a wrestle off, you need to get in touch with Jade by Friday. After Friday.
Wait, how do they know they want to wrestle off if they haven't announced the team?
Well, they got to contact Jade if they want a chance to wrestle off. So Jade's contacting the number ones.
Okay.
Unless they contact him first. And then if kids want to wrestle off, they contact Jade. Hey, we want to wrestle off, and Jade will say, "Okay, this is who you're wrestling off, and this is where you'll need to go."
What are the weights? Are they like?
So it goes 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75,
Okay.
85. Then at 100, it goes 100, 105, 112, 120, 130, 140, 160.
160.
Yeah.
So
What's the lightest weight?
50.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
So get in touch with Jade if you haven't been contacted by him. Get in touch with him if you want to wrestle off, and he can help arrange that if needed. So that's Heartland Duels, and then obviously this summer we got the Intermountain Warrior Challenge Duels coming up on March 8th.
Yep.
That's in Logan. So that's high school, and I guess you can get junior high. So that'll be exciting. And then we got, national teams, dual team, schoolboy cadets, turf wars, and Fargo coming up. And obviously we'll get much more information out about that. So,
yeah.
Anything else, Jade, before you head out?
I think that's it.
Okay.
So.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All
See
right.
you later.
So next topic we wanted to touch on, and I know Nate's pretty passionate about this. Is actually no. Let's do this one. Let's do this one second. Let's keep with the youth. We'll come back.
What's the tease though? What am I passionate
Divisionals.
about? Divisionals. Yes, I am.
So
All right.
So one thing I kind of wanted to touch on the youth real quick, 5 minutes, is we had last week and we had Northern State. We had 1A through 4A state. Both had pretty good turnouts. Super State's coming up, and I was looking at 1A through 4A state, the teams, and the numbers that some of these teams were bringing. And I was quite impressed, actually. But it correlates. I mean, if you want to be good at the high school level, your team, as a team, I mean, you look at these, and it's a direct correlation of who's good and who's not. I mean, it's and the team's not good now. I'm pretty confident in saying in the next 3 to 5 years, these are going to be your teams. I mean, you look at the 1A through 4A junior high state tournament. Juab, 54 kids, which is incredible. 4th through 9th grade. Payson, 37. Millard, 47. Beaver, 40. Bear River, 49. Delta, 43. Altamont, 23. Canyon View, 23. Morgan, 25. Then you have South Summit, 26. Carbon, 55. I mean, it's crazy when you look at these numbers. I mean, these are the teams. Why does Juab continue to be good year after year after year? And you look at these numbers and it tells you, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I'm calling it right now, Jeff. Juab will be the top team in the state for 5 to 6 years in a row here.
I mean, they may be.
Just with the numbers.
Right.
And Joel building his team, he's got lad as a 4th grader. I mean, he's got a lot of motivation to keep growing that program. You kind of see sometimes once kids graduate, what their passion is for the program. It'll be interesting to see, like Brock Moore, how much will he be pushing? How much Disher, I mean, once your kid kind of graduates, how much motivation do you have?
And we've talked about this briefly before, but I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here. Okay. So now you look at the Northern State Tournament. Champions, 43. Sanderson, 26. They're not a certain school. It's going to different schools. Then you got Team Prestige with 33, and they typically feed into Harriman. Westlake,
they're building that new school out there, though.
Right, so it's going to split. Westlake with 34, they're going to split. Now PG with 45. No, they're pretty much all PG kids. Sons of Atlas with 24. Wasatch with 41. So on the Northern State, you're seeing more club-based, obviously because of the way things are up here. I mean, it's kind of hard when you have, it's harder to do the junior high thing up here.
Club, you just have the same kids
versus down in rural Utah. Because in Miller, I mean, it's Miller. All those kids are going to the same school. Whereas up here, it's a lot of kids, going all over the place. But what I'm getting at is 1A through 4A state or the rural southern schools. And we mentioned this. You don't see a ton of superstars. You see teams that are good from top to bottom, and they're deep. You come up here and take Wasatch, for example. Wasatch, they have superstars. They have a bunch of superstars. They're maybe not as deep as a Millard.
Yeah, we're not.
So these,
when we're forfeiting 3 weights at most of all of our duels, just because we don't have anybody.
And not to say Miller doesn't have superstars, because they do. They have Van Bray, they have Callan Woodcock, and they have some really good kids. But, I mean, it just seems like rural and southern Utah, they do such a good job of numbers and getting their numbers out. Juab with 54, I mean, that's more than any of the 2 state tournaments had. And they're all going to the same school, and numbers is going to create depth, and it's going to help everyone get better quicker. I mean, it's just.
Well, when you fill your teams with that depth, you're having a solid kid from 106 to 285. I mean, that's huge. I mean, you're going to win most duels. I mean, yeah, you might get beat up on a couple of weights, but man, overall, that's like you watch a Wasatch duel and it's like, okay, well, it depends where we start. We start at 126. We're going to score a lot of points. And then when we get to up to our upper weights, we give up a ton of points, and then we come back to the back end. We're okay, the lighter weights. But you look at a team like Millard's, my goodness, it's like good kid after good kid after good kid after good kid with a few pretty good kids in there, So
and Wasatch has 41 kids, which is a darn good number. But you look at PG. The reason PG is so good every single year is when you have 45 kids from 4th through 9th grade. I mean, you're going to have depth, and
I think every year they start their high school season with like 70 or 80 kids in their room just to start the season off.
And then you have teams like Corner Canyon had 30, and Westlake had 34. Some of your up and coming teams, and so I guess what the point I'm trying to get is, if you want to see if your high school is going to be good in the future, look at these junior high tournaments. Where are their numbers at? At Northern State, at Super State, where are the numbers? And if your team's bringing 30, 40, 50 kids, then the future looks probably pretty bright for you. If you're bringing 3, 4 kids, maybe something needs to change, or maybe that's it's just telling you what's going to come in. And obviously there are, teams that don't fit the mold and somehow make it happen. And so it's not like foolproof where it's 100% this is what's going to happen. But, Carbon with 55 kids, I mean, looking at that, I would think, okay, Carbon in the next 3 to 5 years probably is going to be much better than they are now.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't happen, maybe it does. And same thing with Westlake, 34 kids. You think in the next few years they get better and better. Maybe they don't. But it's a pretty good indication anyway. So I was looking at that this weekend at the numbers and teams and kind of correlating to the high schools. And anyways, just wanted to kind of bring that up. Okay, divisionals. We'll hit the divisionals. Give us your thoughts. I mean, you already told me your thoughts.
Okay, I hate divisionals. Divisionals, I mean,
so real quick.
Okay, whoever puts this system together, obviously, doesn't know anything about wrestling. And if they do, they should just, I mean.
It's tough. I get it.
What planet did they come from? I mean, they try and give points out from the year before. I mean, look at Wasatch. We have a ton of points, but like 2 of the kids getting points.
Never even stepped
on the mat this year. They both quit.
Right.
So we're giving points out to 2 kids that quit. Or let's just take Viewmont. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
They opened up a new school, and they didn't give the kids going to that new school their points. So you look at what's the new school over there? Farmington. They have 0 points at divisionals. And those points went to Viewmont, who they don't even wrestle for.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, good night. That is just absolutely ridiculous. And whoever thought of that just...
Well, I mean, I get the rationale. The rationale would be kids will stay at their schools, they'll wrestle.
Well, they should have known Farmington. Where's the foresight there?
I don't understand that part. Like, if the school is splitting, then the point should go to the new school.
Why don't you figure injuries? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, if you looked at it now, I'm just looking at it for 5A, and I'll get to 4A too because I was looking at that too. But like 5A, I mean, Wasatch and Box Elder are in the same division. Where
right,
on paper, those are the top 2 teams, but yet they're in the same divisional. Right. I mean, what system? Yeah, that's a great system. Right. That worked out fabulous. And you can make this argument every year. There's teams that you're trying to separate 1 and 4 and 2 and 3, and they're not doing that. They're doing not a very good job.
Let me ask you this. I don't know if you've heard. Have you heard what they're doing next year? Well, there's a good chance it will happen.
Yes, I did hear. Rumor is that they're trying to just no divisionals, just both top 2 kids. You send 2 kids from each way.
So what do you think about that? Is that a better system?
Way better system.
So now the flip side.
What's the flip side?
So some people look at that and be like, okay, well, now being a state qualifier means nothing. Like, absolutely. Like, okay, so.
Yeah, but we have 6 classifications. It doesn't matter anyways.
6 classifications.
Our state's an absolute joke. Go outside of our state of Utah and say, I'm a 4-time state champ. And they'll be like, oh, really?
Right.
And then when you drop we have 6 classifications. I mean,
right.
You get laughed out of it.
I would agree. In
Utah, congratulations.
6 classifications, being a state qualifier doesn't mean a lot.
Well, I heard they're actually going to go to 12 classifications for wrestling so we can have more state champions.
But now if you get rid of divisionals,
yeah,
like it absolutely means nothing. Like 100, like whatever. Like if it meant like being a state qualifier, like because there are kids that will never qualify for state. Like this way, everyone now qualifies. Now I don't have a strong.
I mean,
one way or the other.
Wasatch mostly qualifies 2 kids in most of our weights, anyways.
And I don't have a strong stance one way or the other. I don't, because I agree. I think qualifying for state now isn't a big deal.
I mean, if we were like at 2 divisions or 3 divisions. Okay, now I think you do have to make a qualification for state. That would make a lot more sense. But when we have 6 classifications, I mean, will we be the first state in the country to go to no qualification to make state? I hope so, because we're like the first state that has like the population of like 2 million to go to 6 classifications.
So, because
that makes a lot of sense. And I heard a rumor that they're going back to football to 5 classifications, which is the whole reason why we went to 6. That's what I heard.
I haven't heard that one. So as far as getting rid of divisionals, I don't have a preference, I guess, one way or the other. It'll be interesting to see.
It doesn't hurt the individual kids for the most part. The best kids are probably, But what it hurts is, like, you look like a team like Uinta. Look who's in their divisional this year. They have absolutely nobody. They're probably going to get too deep all the way through, which is a huge advantage for them to win state.
It's huge.
I mean, that's going to be a tight race between them and Payson.
Yeah.
And Payson's got to dogfight it out with a couple other teams, you know, that could beat out some of their kids. And so you're looking at it going, well, Uinta's the favorite now, in my opinion, just because of divisionals. Well, that sucks.
That's true.
That's a crappy way to do it.
That's true. Now, if they get rid of divisionals, like the deeper teams, it's going to give them even a bigger advantage, because now you have a kid that would have never qualified for state, and he's going to wrestle Joe Schmo even worse than him and get a pin. So, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, I haven't thought this through enough, but getting rid of divisionals is going to even favor more the deeper teams.
No, I just say you only score your number.
But they won't do that.
I know they won't, because the coaches want to score both kids, which is fine. I don't care. Honestly, I think you'll still get the best. I think you have a better chance of getting the best team, though. Yeah, to win it.
So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with divisionals. I agree. I think the current system isn't perfect. I don't know that I have a better solution, unless you, like you were saying, you wait to split the divisionals until later in the season. But the hard thing about that is, what about locations? Now, let's say.
Oh yeah, because the locations this year are great.
Well, let's just say.
I mean, I'm probably going to get crucified for this one, but I mean, in both of our locations, my wife's like, "Do I need to bring like a security guy or something?" So you got about Roy and West High School.
Got it.
I mean, we got two non-wrestling schools that we're hosting these.
But what I'm saying is, let's say, okay, West and Roy is hosting a divisional, and what happens if you wait to do the split divisionals until like mid-January, and those two end up in the same divisional? Then you got to find a new location and decide who's going to host it over here. So I think that would be one of the roadblocks to splitting divisionals later. You'd have to find a location, or you just have to say, okay, West and Roy, you're going to have to be in separate divisionals, and it's just going to have to be, and we'll figure it out. So I mean, I don't know that there's a better solution. I think
if that's the case, then just pick the two crappiest teams that you probably more likely, and then it doesn't matter which divisional they go to.
Right.
To host it.
I think they'll get rid of divisionals, and I think it will be solved. No divisionals.
I think so. I mean, maybe I'm just crying this year, and next year it's going to be fixed. But I just was looking at that, just going, how does that work? I mean, why would they pick? I mean, you're picking it way too early. I mean, you don't know about injuries. I mean, at least halfway through January or something like that, at least you kind of know where teams are at. I mean, I probably wouldn't have, based off the numbers, Viewmont's the number 2 team, but you got to take Gillette and Frazier's points off of there.
What's going to be interesting too is if they get rid of divisionals, seeding at the state tournament. That's going to be interesting because now you got.
Well, if it's anything like seeding at the Rumpel, oh my goodness.
Well, seeding will be based.
We'll have coaches calling about their kid that's won one match, thinking they should be a 2 seed.
They will be though. And the seeding at state would be based on a formula. It'd be like strength of schedule or whatever. I'm not sure exactly, but I know I was talking to John about it this weekend. It'd be based on like a formula, and would that be the best? I don't know. Like maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know how they do it, but I think that'll be interesting to see how the seeding actually works out at state. And in my opinion, the best way you could seed at state is if you have a seeding committee and you just seed it.
To me, that seems the best.
I think but the hard thing on that is
seed and let the coaches look at it, and if they have an argument.
Well, I think you seed top 6 or top 8, and then everyone else is drawn in randomly. And I think at least you'll get the top 2 kids on the opposite sides most of the time.
Well, you should probably almost get the top 4.
Probably
separated pretty good.
But that would be tough because you do a seeding committee, and who's on the committee, and there's going to be bias on the committee. I mean, it's hard. A formula might be the best way, but then again, will it be perfect? Probably not.
No, I mean, there's always not going to be perfect.
Well,
I always say the cream rises to the top.
Well, what happens when you have a formula and you have 2 kids, the best kids in the state, but one's been hurt all year, and so he only has 1 or 2 matches, and now you have the best kid. This kid's number 1, and this other kid's been hurt all year. Is the best or the second
And
best.
he doesn't fit criteria. And
Right.
He gets randomly
Right.
drawn in first match.
Right.
Which
What
should
happened?
be your state finals.
Right.
That's why you have to have a committee.
I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, you've
There's-
got to have.
there's things like that could happen,
You've got to have a committee.
and it will be like chaos. Like,
Well, I would
coaches
say
will
the
throw
committee. You know, I mean, well, should we
So-
throw the cat out of the bag? We helped seed the Rumble.
I did very little.
I did a little bit too. We each did a couple weights,
Right.
but it's hard.
It is.
It is hard. You try to go off criteria, and then you look at the criteria, and you're like, that
Doesn't
doesn't
make
work
sense.
at all. That doesn't make sense on paper. No one in the state would think that would be good, but you got to go with the criteria, which is dumb. So
Right.
you got to use a judgment there, and it can be hard. Don't get me wrong, seeding stuff. So
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see what
Yeah.
happens.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the Rumble.
Okay, Rumble. What are your thoughts? I mean, I guess it's been a while, so we haven't really talked about Rumble.
Well, my first thought, I heard a bunch of people complaining before the Rumble. Oh, it's that's not
What's
at
that?
UVU and blah, blah. You know, which fine. But look, I mean, we're wrestling, right? We get overthrown by basketball. It happens.
Right.
Probably more often than we would like to admit. I mean, basketball's a bigger sport. When the UVU basketball team they want to put a game on that week, they're going to get it over the wrestling. And so that's what happened, and Cole had to scramble. And you know what? Actually, I ended up hearing comments from 3 or 4 different people that were actually, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be as far as seeding and as far as that goes. I mean, look, we just don't have a lot of facilities to host wrestling.
We don't.
tournaments.
Like,
And
there's
so
hardly.
and so, I mean, if you don't have UVU, well, then what if for some reason they kicked us out of state there for some reason because they had some big event
Right.
or something or a concert or whatever, you know, that was going to make them way more money. I mean, we're getting bumped and we're in the same boat. And so, you know, I heard of some teams were like, "Oh, we're not going to come to the Rumble." Well, you're only hurting your kids.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing I think with Viewmont. He's only hurting his kids. They don't come to the Rumble. You're letting your kids miss out on the best competition. I mean, any coach, and I'm not afraid to say it to their face, I think you're hurting your kids by not letting them wrestle at the Rumble. The best tournament we have in the state. And it's 10 times tougher than the state tournament. You think the state tournament's tough? The state tournament's a joke. And the Rumble, by a coach is saying, no, we're not going to go, you're hurting your kid. That's all you're hurting. And your egos and all of that, well, it's not at UVU or blah, blah, blah. You're only hurting your kid.
Yeah, no, I heard it went fine at Wasatch or up in Heber, and I'm glad it did. I know Cole's bringing it back.
Yeah, he has a plan
year.
coming back next year. We had to do it up there. What was that? About 6-7 years ago, we did it up there because the same thing happened. And I mean, you punt and you try to do what it happens. Stuff happens.
One of the most surprising. Well, there's a couple surprising results.
Okay, yeah, give me your surprising one.
120 Scott Robertson over River. I didn't see that coming. I think Scott started at 138, which is crazy, and he's just dropped and dropped and dropped. And now
I don't think he was
120.
a true 138.
No,
right?
definitely not. But I think 120 is where he should be. I think that's where he's toughest. And in the BHAF top 25, he's ranked number 10. Some may question it. Well, he's lost to this person, this person, this person. He was at 26 he lost. But going up one weight class is a big deal. Sammy Haywood went up and lost to Austin Gillette, one weight class up. I mean, you move up one weight class, and it's a big deal. And so, Scott Robertson at 120. I think I would have had him more in the 13 to 15 range, not number 10. But I don't blame him for being number 10. I think at 120
you can make an argument for both.
Right. At 120, he's a top 15 kid, and he proved that at the Rumble, I think.
Yeah, I'd probably say most people were. That's probably probably the biggest surprise, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's another one.
Not only that, because Von Bauer lost that one too. The kid from Windsor.
Well,
which I would probably
beat him, right?
Yeah, which I think he beat him. Which I would think that most people probably would have had him maybe as the favorite.
Well, he was the number 1 seed, I think.
Yes, he was.
And
so not only did he beat him, then he beat River. I mean, that's 2 solid kids you just beat. So
you also had Sammy Haywood beating Gavin. That was
a great match. It was a lot of fun, and then they wrestled again, and then Sam got dinged up, and Disher was like, it's not worth it.
Right.
Pulled him out. But at that point, looking at it, before they called the match, I thought Gavin was wrestling. He probably would have won that match, so it probably would have gone 1-1.
Right.
But it was fun. That first match, man, what a battle.
Tyler Shern winning at 52.
Yeah, Tyler Shern, but I called that before. I know I didn't announce it here, but I told a lot of people before. I said Tyler Shern's winning 152. That was my bet. I would have put all my money right there on him. I just watched him wrestle. Where did I see him wrestle? When we wrestled, we dueled North Summit. Then I watched him one other place, and I was like, man, he's wrestling really well right now. And he's just Tyler was a good wrestler. He just had two.
He's had
bad knee surgeries and all that stuff, and I think he's kind of getting back into form again. He's looking good.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I mean, I'd probably shocked quite a few people that he won 52.
Yeah, I mean,
it didn't.
But he's always been good, like you said.
Yeah.
Couple injuries kind of put him.
It didn't me, but it probably surprised some people.
Cash Rob placing third.
Yeah, Cash Rob
placed at Reno, placed here. I mean, that's pretty good.
Well, especially when you look at him, and I remember talking to Steve Sanderson. I was just like, man, Steve's like, he's one of the strongest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, he's a steer wrestler,
Right.
and like national ranked steer wrestler in high school. So he's a freaking strong kid, And it's like, well, he must be because he does really well for his age. I think he's only a sophomore, right? Yeah,
young
at wrestling at that big of a weight.
Right.
That's impressive.
And then Ryan Gunn at heavyweight beat Daw.
That was a good match too. That was a really fun match. I was sitting right in front of Daw's family, and they were so into the match. It was a lot of fun. I mean, and it just I think did it go to overtime? I think it went to overtime. Yeah, it went to overtime. God, that was a good match. It was good at the All Stars too when they wrestled. Yeah. So that was, I mean, for a heavyweight, that was a fun match. Sometimes you just get bored. They just get two big guys that ear to ear and push each other around the mat for 7 minutes and go to triple overtime, and someone gets an escape or whatever, or Batman rolls them and it's over. But any other matches that stuck out to you?
Those were the main ones. The team race, Layton, came second above Wasatch, and then Millard, and you went to. I think it was good. Looks like it was a good team race as well.
Yeah, it was. It was fun.
So
it was back and forth for a lot. I mean, Millard was way ahead, and people started moving up. Then Layton was way ahead, and people, other teams started creeping up. But yeah, those top 3 or 4 teams was a lot of fun. Windsor, no one's got to beat Windsor.
Right. Okay, so now Rumble rankings. Any thoughts on the rankings? I know in the power polls, I know Ben's working on rankings, putting everybody back in. All the injuries. It'll be interesting to see kind of where people fall on that one. BF top 25. We talked a little bit about Scott Robertson. I probably would have had him a little bit lower, but 10 still solid. Zorn at 11, River at 12. I mean, any thoughts on the top 25 that you would change, or?
Yeah, I might have Tyson a little higher.
Humphreys?
Yeah,
he's at number 7 right now. I mean, the question is, where do you put him? I mean, Brady Lowry is at 7.
The only reason why I put him in front of Brady, and I love Brady to death, the only reason why I put him in front of Brady is because he was in the finals of the TOC out in Reno. I mean,
that's true. He's had a good year.
I mean, he's had a good year. He's wrestled tough. I mean, I think only in-state loss was to Stockton. That was a good match too,
Yeah.
So that's where I would put him. But I mean, Brady's fine there too. Brady's tough, good wrestler.
I mean, the BF top 25 for me. I mean, it's pretty close to what I would have. I think
I'd have Porter Chamberlain higher.
Porter's at number 18. Possibly, yeah, I could see that. I might, this is the hard one. Cade Carlson, he places at the dock. Should he be higher than 16?
He didn't place at the dock. He didn't go.
Didn't he come 5th? Oh, where was it at then?
Ironman.
Oh, Ironman. That's right. Okay. That's a tough one. I wish they went to the Rumble. Some of the other, I think maybe Marco Herrera. I might put him in.
Marco wrestled well.
He's had a good season.
Yes.
I don't know, man. Top 25 is tough right now. I don't know that I'd make a ton of changes to it.
I mean, for the most part, maybe I'd add one or two different kids and pull out one or two different kids. But for the most part, everybody in there, I mean, you could kind of mix a few kids around here and there. But for the most part, I think we have pretty good top 25.
I think so. I mean, the thing is, people, you can say, well, he lost, Sammy Hayward lost or whatever, but he also beat A.O. I mean, people lose, but they win against other kids. And anyways, it's hard. Yeah. River losing to someone could say River lost to Scott. Scott lost to Mason Denton, I think, at 26. I mean,
well, but Sammy went up this last weekend and wrestled Dylan Dick at 138 and beat Dylan Dick. So I mean,
so it's hard.
He's wrestling well.
I think Ben's done a good job in the top 25.
It's tough. I mean, Ben, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job because you're doing it, and that's half the battle.
Right.
And two is he's putting a lot of thought and effort. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, to try and get everything right. I mean, you're talking in the entire state. You're talking every kid. You got to try to remember every match and every kid who's lost. I mean, that's a lot of work, and he's putting in the time. And I just love that he's doing it, and he's passionate about it, and he's trying to get it right. And so, be patient with him. And if you get something you don't think is right, make a nice comment.
Right.
Just put your name on it.
Right.
Like, not be a coward. Put your name on it and just be like, hey, Nate O'Brien, I thought that, here I am. I'm saying Tyson should be ahead of Brady Lowry. I'm not dissing on Brady Lowry. I just think Tyson had a better, performance. Right. I watched him wrestle at out in Reno, and dude, he beat a couple ranked kids. Right. He beat a couple kids that's already committed to, Oklahoma State. I mean, he wrestled really well. I just think that, in my opinion, I would put him one place higher. But
the power polls, it's going to change whenever they come out again because everyone's going to be back in, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how that shakes up.
You could put Sherman in the top 25. I don't know if he's in there.
That's true. He could be.
I mean, so.
Anyways, anything else on rankings?
No.
Divisionals this weekend will be fun to kind of see, get things ready.
We'll get divisionals done, and then we'll do a podcast after divisionals before state, and we'll talk about who we think is going to win state. We'll talk about some of the matchups.
Talk about the Atlas All-Star Showdown.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So Atlas All-Star Showdown is on Monday, February 18th. We understand it's right after state. Wasn't a lot of options, so we went ahead and chose that day. It's a holiday.
Can I talk a little bit about this, since I don't want to pat myself on the back.
Right.
This was my brainstorm.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the thought being behind this was we tried to do super state, high school super state.
Didn't work.
And it worked okay for maybe a little bit for the first couple of years, but it fizzled out pretty fast.
Right.
And we were 6 years into it. Something like that. 5, 6, something like that. Anyhow, we just weren't getting the steam. And really what we were trying to do is try to get best two kids against each other, really, for Super State. And so my idea was why don't we just have a actual all-star duel and have two team captains and pick the teams and have those team captains pick who they think and use strategy. Okay, well, if you're going to pick here, okay, yeah, like last year, they had Brock Hardy, right? He was one of the captains, and Trussell picked was that Larson kid from Skyview?
Yeah.
And I don't think Brock pinned him. And so in Trussell's head, he's like, if I keep Brock from pinning, that's a win for my team. Right. And so there was some strategy behind it, and it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. We actually had a lot of people come and watch that, and the kids had an absolute blast. We had T-shirts made. We had the Ginger Giants, and then the Hardys came up with a shirt, and they had the Hardy Boys. It was just a lot of fun and great matches. There were some great matchups there. I mean, Foy and Lowry, that was a fun match. The match is just, there was some really good. And I don't think the kids felt pressure like, oh, this is Super State. I'm going to lose my state title, if I lose it. They just went out and wrestled and had a great time. And so it was like So if you guys want to see the top 2 kids in the state at those weights, that's what you're going to see at the All-Star,
Right.
at the Atlas All-Stars.
Yep.
That's what you're going to see. You're going to see the 2 best kids in a dual format, and we are doing college rules.
College rules.
So we have riding time. We have the out of bounds rules. In fact, last year, that kind of Wilcox.
Right, decided the match.
That decided the match between Wilcox
Right.
and
Lofthouse.
Lofthouse.
Right.
Because Wilcox, he probably wouldn't have taken injury time, but he kind of banged his teeth a little
Right.
bit, if I remember right. And the ref looked, hey, you want injury time? And usually in high school, you just, circle your finger if you're out of breath,
Right.
And so he kind of looked at it like, yeah, I'll take a couple seconds, just make sure my tooth's still in line. But what ended up happening, he got the choice. Then he had choice, and he went
down,
got out, and scored and won the match. And so that was really the difference in the match, and which was a lot of fun. So so we wrestle at college rules. It's a lot of fun.
And we will reveal the team captains. Typically, we choose the top 2 kids in the Beehive top 25. So we will reveal the captains soon, and then the week after divisionals is when we'll actually start selections, and selections will basically happen,
next week.
Right, next week. And
so what it does is it takes them a little bit of time to.
Because we have
alternate picks, and so the captain's got to call and say, hey, are you going to be here? I mean, last year, someone might look at it and go, well, you didn't have the best 2 people in the weight. Well, we had lots of people say they couldn't do it or they didn't want to do it because they didn't know what it was all about.
Right.
And they were
it had a pretty good.
But we had 3 or 4 kids that said no. And so I think this year maybe
Hopefully we'll get
different.
Full
We'll get full
participation.
participation.
But the captains are who choose the team.
Yep.
The captains are who call the kid and invite him.
Yep.
Like, it's not me doing it. It's not Jade. It's not Nate. The actual wrestler, the captain, is making the phone calls and inviting the kid to be on their team. The winning team wins the winner's table, which we took last year. We had pizza and candy and ice cream and everything you can think of, kind of as an end of the season kind of party. And the winning team gets that table and take it home, eat it, whatever they want, which is kind of fun to have that table there and see it all. But selections will start after divisionals, and hopefully they'll be selected before the 1A, 2A state tournament that week. But it'll depend on how quickly they can do selections and get people to commit. So it's a fun event. February 18th at 6 p.m. at Tilo's U in Orem. Plan to come support it. It's right before the girls' state tournament, or right after the high school girls' state tournament. So I think it's a fun thing. Anyways, come out and support it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun last year. So
anyways, so we've been going for about 45 minutes. We'll close up here. UVU wrestles this weekend on the road. Next weekend, February 8th and 9th, they're at home against Wyoming and Northern Iowa. And then conference is coming up and nationals. So we're getting close to the end of the season there. UVU should have a pretty solid team come conference time. They're kind of limping through right now to get to conference, but sounds like that thing should be up soon.
How's Kimball doing? Is he gonna be back soon?
Yeah, I think he's back now.
Okay.
I know they're going to North Dakota and South Dakota this weekend, and they'll have some guys out of the lineup. So it'll be tough to win those duels. I don't know who, I can't remember who they're wrestling, but I know they're going to have at least 3 starters.
Did they wrestle Stanford? Was it like a 1-point match or something like that? 1-point duel against Stanford?
Not for sure.
I thought it was really close, and I know if Kimball would have won, beat his kid, they would have won, and Kimball didn't wrestle. So.
But on February 8th, I think they have Wyoming, the 9th, Northern Iowa, and it sounds like maybe they'll have a full lineup for those 2. We'll see. Maybe not. I know it's questionable for a couple kids. But after that, for conference, it's looking like they'll have a full lineup. The kids will be back, which will be nice, and hopefully they're ready to go. And really, conference is what matters, not these duels. I mean, the duels,
they help for rankings, get the kid ranked,
but conference is where they need these guys. I mean, their guys are ranked high enough right now that they just need them healthy for conference, and they need to be ready for conference. So, as fans, I want to see him wrestle Wyoming with a full lineup, and I'm sure everyone else does too. But in the end, if someone's not out there, we've got to understand that they're trying to get things ready for conference, and that's what's most important. And it's frustrating. I get it. I get frustrated. I want to see them out there. I want them to win because I know they can. But in the bigger picture, conference is more important than beating Wyoming or beating Northern Iowa. So understand that as kids are sitting out, there's reasons for it, and anyways, it's for their best chance of winning conference. So,
and now being in the Big 12, can we get more kids in though?
Well, it all comes down to the whole allotment. So if you have kids that are ranked, you're going to get an automatic bid come conference time. So the tougher your weight is, the more
kids they let in, right?
Right.
Per weight.
I mean, and really, it's not. I guess the more kids you have ranked in their system, the more kids you get in. So they'll probably come out with, typically towards the end of February, they come out with how many allocations per weight you have. So like the Big 12 at 125 will have X automatic bids. So that won't happen until the end of February, I think. But yeah, I mean, I would expect, my prediction for UVU as of right now, full lineup, I think they're getting 6 nationals.
6?
6.
Who you got?
I think right now, Finley makes it.
Okay.
Demetrius makes it. Kimball makes it. Sumner makes it. Orndorff and Orndorff. Those are my 6 that I think. I mean, I think all 6 of those will have automatic bids, for their conference. So I mean, it's not saying they're automatically in, but they have an automatic bid for their conference, which gives them a good chance. And even if those 6 don't get in, I think there's a good chance they get an automatic bid after conference. Because after conference happens, there's 3 to 5 spots left that a committee decides, okay, who are the best kids that didn't make it? Then they put them in. So I think 6, that's my number I'm going with. Hopefully more, but I'm going 6.
That's not bad. 6 out of 10.
Not bad, yeah. I even have the ability to get more. And it depends on, some things I've heard. I think, if things happen, I think there's the ability to get more is there. But whether kids go certain weights or not, and whether they're healthy or not, obviously will make that happen. So as of right now, with what they have right now, I'm saying 6. But yeah.
Okay.
Which I think is good. And I think, at the NCAA tournament, we're actually going over it today. I think I would love to see all 6, assuming they get 6, make, be an All-American. I think 1, they might get 1 this year. I think they might get an All-American this year. I think they have a good chance if everyone's healthy. I think that's my prediction. I think 1 is
get 1. We're one more than last year, so
I think they have the ability.
I would be nice if we had 2. Have we ever had a year we've had 2?
No, they've only had 2 in the history.
Okay, so we've never had a year.
So I think there is a possibility of 2. I do, and quite frankly, there's a possibility of 3. I mean, I guess if all 6 go, there's a possibility of 6. But I think realistically, if they get 1, that'd be great. I think next year 1 will be a disappointment. I think if they get 2, it'll be a phenomenal NCAA tournament for the guys that qualify, because I think, the ones that have a chance, I think Finley has the best chance, but Demetrius, Orndorff, Kimball, looking through the rankings, looking at the guys, it's going to be difficult. It's going to come down to where they get seated, who their draws are. And I mean, I guess that's how it is for everybody, but I think it's going to be difficult for those guys to get in. I think it's possible. I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's UVU.
But we pick up All-Americans in the next year.
Right.
You get ranked even higher.
Yeah. No, I think next
year,
better
seeds.
Taylor Lamont comes back is the hope, right?
Yeah.
He, keep my fingers crossed he does not take an Olympic red shirt because he qualified too. So hopefully get him back, and I think he has a legit chance. Obviously, Finley, I think, will start the season top 8. Then you got Tate Orndorff at heavyweight. You got, Kimball and Demetrius could start top 10 next year. It's just next year could be a really good year. Hopefully they get a guy at 57 that's been told that's coming back, and will be eligible. I don't know how he'll do, how he won't. We'll see. But I think next year could be a big year for him. So, this year is a big year for him. Next year could be even bigger. So, anyways, we'll close up. We'll try and get on after divisionals before state sometime. We will, because we have the Atlas All-Star Showdown selection show. We'll get on here and do that. Youth Super State, unfortunately, it's February 8th and 9th. Not the best dates. We're kind of handcuffed. We do apologize to the smaller schools, 1A and 2A, because I know that's their high school state tournament. Definitely didn't want it to happen. Didn't have much of a choice for this year. Hopefully for next year we can get things worked out and be a better situation. JV State, February 9th. And then we have high school girls state February 18th as well as Atlas All-Star Showdown. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back probably next week.